So you want to have fun, freedom, and flexibility with food? In this Time to Thrive Live, we'll help you do just that. If you would like to show your support for these episodes, just tap that little like button, leave a little comment if you fancy. You may as well subscribe. It is free. Let's get into it.
Hello, boys.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you? I am great, thank you. How are you?
We're
Perfect.
fantastic, thank you. A little exhausted, mind you, because as you probably know, we're on stage at the moment. We've been on stage all week and it's quite tiring. Tonight's our
Uh, are you gonna have a relaxing weekend now? I was thinking about asking you about a Saturday. I wasn't sure whether you were working weekend kind of guys or whether you were flat out during the week and you like to have a slower weekend.
Well, chance would be a fine thing.
No,
Yeah.
with
But
this
then I
tonight.
was thinking, like, your life is quite varied in that I have definitely seen you've been out, like, for food and stuff through the week. So I didn't think, like, it was a full on working week and then a lot of food at the weekend. I sort of thought you did, like, balance that out. And it seems like every day in your life is like a foodie fun day.
Well, it's
Is
all
that
very
not
clever
how it
editing.
feels?
Clever editing and
editing.
timing. It doesn't. We don't need every day.
So you maybe like eat like 100 times in one day and then save that for posting throughout the like
Correct.
upcoming schedule.
Correct.
It's a bit like that, yeah.
That's
But
quite
you know what?
sensible, but I mean, I guess it obviously feels better for you if you are doing that like consistently with like more of a balance.
Yeah, but we also do a 5-2, so we try and do only 600 calories on a couple of days a week.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, we'd be like two big heifers.
Oh, wow. I didn't know this was something you actually did practice. So is that something you've done for a long time, or is it
It
just
is.
something through doing what you're doing that sort of works for you?
Yeah, we had both put on a lot of weight about 6 years ago, and I think we just decided we would do something. And we're not good dieters because we like our food too much.
Yeah,
But
I'm not.
the 5-2 really worked for us. It was it just worked. It didn't work for a few weeks, and we thought, oh, we'll just give this up. And then all of a sudden, something happened, and within a couple of months, we'd lost about a stone
Yeah.
each.
Wow, so you've just like very well transitioned to that lifestyle where it means you can fully enjoy yourself for those days of the week, and then too you would have more restricted sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
No,
But I know you were talking about being flexible with food and stuff like that. We're flexible with the timings. So we would try and do it on a
Yeah.
Monday and a Wednesday, but if something comes up that we need to do, then we just change it round and we just go with the flow.
Okay, yeah, because we had both decided between us that that would be like the focus of today's Time to Thrive was how to be free and flexible with food. So I had thought, yeah, from I guess it's only from my experience and what I'm seeing, like through looking at your life, I can't really see how if that's actually, true for you, but that you've both seen like food brings you a lot of joy and that you have a very much like open and willing experience with food and that you're willing to try new foods and incorporate more plant into your diet as well, which is something that a lot of people are doing as well at the minute for the planet or for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a couple of things on the flexibility front for us. There's flexible in what we actually eat ourselves.
Yeah.
I suppose we would need to be clear for everybody, we are not vegan.
Yeah. I
But
know, and I wanted to mention that actually I was so overjoyed that you actually came to one of our events, which are fully vegan, but that you two aren't vegan yourselves, and then to see
yeah,
the experience that you shared, it made me so happy. I was like, oh, isn't that so lovely that they were willing to give that a go and they enjoyed it, and you've been back again as well.
yeah,
we
yeah.
were. Yeah, we brought a couple of friends, and they loved it too. They thought
Yeah.
it was great on stage.
So,
Yeah,
so
so
we're
that's
flexible. We're flexible in what we eat ourselves.
yeah.
We don't do red meat.
Okay.
at all.
No.
But I
Just
would
for
occasionally.
personal choice, or
Yeah, I've been a vegetarian, or I was vegetarian from my early 20s. And
okay.
in those days, I was in my 20s a long, long, long time ago. It wasn't really a choice to do with diet, and it wasn't really the sort of the meats affecting the planet wasn't really so much of an issue in those days. It was just,
Maybe wasn't something you were
it just
aware of the effects
it was
of or
just this,
anything.
yeah, absolutely. In those days, it wasn't a big issue, and it was just this notion of chewing on flesh was just something. It made me feel a bit squeamish, and it just went
Okay.
off me completely for a very, very long time. Now I would eat fish
Yeah.
now, but our diet would be there'd be quite a lot of
Yeah,
plant-based stuff in our
yeah.
diet, wouldn't there? We would eat plant-based probably about at least 2 or 3 times a week. We would cook a lot of that
Yeah.
at home.
Because
So many fantastic
I
products out there.
I do definitely enjoy seeing your reviews, because I know that you would tend, I don't know whether you do it consciously, but I would sort of look for it in that you often do mention or draw some sort of awareness to whether the place has vegan options, or, just you've maybe asked, or you've tried them anyway amongst the maybe heavily meat-based offering, that you have sort of opted for some of the veggie options, which is great that you're incorporating into a post, with other things as well, because it's just bringing more light to it and normality.
But you know what, Amy? I think the thing is, even if you go, so if we go to a restaurant to eat, and you ask the people, you ask the server, or you ask the management, or whoever it is, they're very often very flexible in terms of what they will do for you. There's
Yeah.
much more effort now put into satisfying other dietary requirements,
Have you
and
noticed that yourself?
yeah,
Very
very.
much. You go into a restaurant and you ask for what are the vegan or vegetarian options, and all of a sudden, a huge menu hoves into view.
Yeah,
That
I was
wasn't
going
there
to
in the
say
first
that
place.
maybe has been a massive, thing you've noticed from being vegetarian for all those years, that you have seen the progress in restaurants through the years, and even in supermarkets and everything. Like, even for me, within the past few years, I feel like it's really boomed and taken off. But
Yeah.
for you, that longer period, maybe seeing that come about more gradually than it's been for you in the
When I
catering.
became a sorry, when I became a vegetarian in the early 80s, it was really not good. Very,
Yeah,
very often you
difficult.
were offered a plate of vegetables just when everybody else was having without the meat.
Yeah. And
Having said that,
that was the
we've
height of
had
it.
that
Well,
experience. We have had that experience quite recently in a cafe, and we'll name no names, but they had a very nice sort of bacon roll on
Oh
the menu.
yes. Yeah.
And they said there was a vegan option. And we went, oh, great, what's the vegan option? The roll without the bacon.
It was just
I
that
mean,
was it.
that
like
was it.
literally a
Just take
roll
the
with
bacon out.
nothing in it, butter.
I did ask what did they put in instead of the bacon, and they said, well,
Nothing.
the waiter was a bit confused by that question. I don't think he'd ever been asked for the vegan option before. It was very we'll not name names.
No, we're not going to.
No,
But
I
it was.
wouldn't
I
be
mean,
one to tear down businesses in this economy. But is
No,
that
it was a
something?
brand new place. Teething problems.
yeah.
Teething problems.
Okay, we'll let them find their feet, and then we'll maybe give them another go. We'll go back and we'll
Absolutely.
get a lovely festive wrap or some sort of delicious sandwich from them. They'll have learned.
Hopefully.
We
Hopefully.
live
But you
and
were
hope.
saying there about supporting other businesses. I
Yes,
think
I
that
was
would be.
exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. So that was another thing that I really felt like a lot of people could learn from you. So your free and flexible approach to food really was the first. And another thing then was, yeah, supporting local businesses and how important that is. And you make that a real priority, right?
Yeah. So I think on that we do two things. There's supporting the local hospitality, which
Yeah.
is the reviews and the eating and all that stuff we do. But there's also increasingly what's happening to us is we're meeting a lot of artisan bakers, creators, and this sort of thing. And we've met loads throughout the last year, and these people are so passionate about their
Yeah.
products. And there's all sorts of different things. You've got everything from cheeses
Yeah, I was
vegan
just gonna
cheeses.
say,
Oh,
Anto's cheese, and you went and got
Nourish,
her cheese.
Oh,
amazing.
her cheese is fantastic, I have to
It's
say.
elite, isn't it? Shout out
Uh,
Anto, Nourish Food. She's fantastic. Stocked in nature's
No,
way.
yeah, nature's way. Yeah.
no doubt you've tried lots and lots of vegan cheeses yourselves, as have we. And in the past, some of them have been a bit sort of flabby
Oh,
and unpleasant. Hers are incredible.
they're
We got the
incredible.
lovely chili one at the
Oh,
weekend, and the black pepper one. I don't know if you've had it. I think
Yes.
those are
My
both fairly
last
new.
6 course taster menu had a cheese board was the very last course, so I'm sure you would have enjoyed that, where we got 3 cheeses and then the crackers. But I saw that as well there. I don't want to take the whole chat away and focus on, but that she's brought out her Christmas selection as well.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like so much cheese. We're living the cheese life.
But
She's
she's a brilliant example of the type of
Yeah.
person that is passionate about her product. It's Northern Ireland person, Northern Ireland based. It's all local. She's local. She's putting the energy into that, and her energy and passion comes out in the flavour of the cheeses almost.
I
But
know.
that's
So
very.
nice
It's a
to
very
support that.
yeah, but it's a very similar story in any. If you go to any markets, any of these local markets, and they increasingly have popped up throughout lockdown and throughout the
Yeah.
pandemic, where people have wanted to shop more local. They don't want to go to the big supermarkets anymore for various reasons, and they want to
Yeah.
support the locals. So go to the local market, buy smaller quantities of food, less food wastage. You're buying it with no packaging. There's so many ticks in the boxes when you go to these markets and you meet these people who are just loving selling you their products or letting you taste their products, and it just is it's so heartsome to hear what they talk about, and that's what we love about it. Because if we buy some stuff and we like it and we post about it, and we're not getting commission off these guys, this isn't a
No,
bit where
I know.
but we like to do it to promote or help do a little bit to help promote them or raise a little bit of awareness for them. And when you get people then messaging you back saying, we really loved that, we went and bought some as well, that's real. That's a real bonus for us. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it all, we're talking about flexible and food and supporting. It's also fun for
yeah.
us. We're doing this as a hobby, as
Yeah.
for fun,
Mm-hmm.
and you meet great people. That's
I know. Because
And you can come
how wholesome and rewarding is that for you to be supporting them, to be able to bring them more business, to be enjoying their food and sharing that with
yeah,
others. Like it's a win-win for everyone.
correct,
yes.
correct.
And
You can come
that's,
across things that you've never really come across before, or you've had in a restaurant and you thought,
yeah.
where do you buy that from? Like Mexico Lindo. What's the lady called? She does incredible Mexican products, and she sells nopales. And she prepares it for you and takes the spines off the cactus, and you simply slice it and fry it up with your vegetables and serve it in tacos.
Oh,
And you've got those
It's delicious.
I know there's
nopales
so many,
tacos
isn't there?
that you
And
only
it's,
really
Her
get.
name's Gabriella.
Gabriella, and
oh, there we go. I
she's
know,
a
and it's
ray of
through.
sunshine. She's fabulous. If you've ever met her, she is an
I haven't
incredible,
actually, but I
so
must
much
look out
energy.
for her. But it's through meeting these people and hearing their stories, and you just feel such, I don't know, it like tastes different, or I feel through so much passion going into food compared to like the mass produced in supermarkets. Like that all that energy that goes into your food, like that goes into our energy systems and stuff as well. So I feel like it's just a better, more enriching food experience in general. I don't know if you've ever thought about it that way, but I would, think about things like they're created and crafted with so much love and energy and compared to something that's been made in a factory.
Yes,
Yes.
completely. And they are out there actually handing you the product they
I
have made
know.
in their
And
kitchen
how
or wherever
beautiful is
they've done
that you can
it.
actually
Great.
support them, like paying, because like we're voting with our pound, so you're actually giving them, and how much they really like appreciate it. It's lovely.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that the other thing is the local markets. I think that is a thing that we need to support. We would go to Cumber Market, which happens on the
Yeah.
first Thursday monthly, and
Saint Field's a great
And
one.
Saint Field's a
Really
great
lovely
market. I think it's every Saturday, and then every last Sunday they do an artisan one as well. And a lot of
Yeah.
these producers are there. And you go into these places and you see the same faces. You get a hello, they call you by your name, they know who you are. You walk around and you go in for 10 minutes and come back out 2 hours later because all you've done is talk your way around every stall. I mean, and even, you know, some of the dessert type artisan producers, bread as well. Like some of the bread guys that we found, the
Spontaneous juice
I'm not sure if we're allowed to name check certain places, but spontaneous juice are definitely
No,
fabulous.
definitely. The more names we can throw in, the better. Another one that came to my mind was the 347 Cakes. I think you're familiar with him as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, his stuff is high end,
Really
amazing.
Those truffles, oh my goodness. I have, honestly, the flavor, I had the orange and the coffee, and wow, I was blown away. Really, like, you know, indulgent.
I mean, his stuff is amazing. I mean, it's really...
These people
when
really
you
are truly talented, and that supporting them is such a important thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. I tell you, the other place that we really like that has a lot of local produce in it at the minute is the Two Sisters.
Oh, yes.
The Two Sisters shop on Ardenley Avenue.
Yes, I haven't been down there now.
Woodstock Road, Ardenley Avenue Junction, nearly.
Oh, that's near me. Okay, that's not too far.
She does, I'm not sure how, she does the best dirty chai lattes in Belfast, I think, down there.
They're really gorgeous, and she would do it with oat milk or...
Yeah. So with Two Sisters, do they have are they like ambient stuff and freshly made? Is it sort of like a shop and a bakery kind of thing?
Yeah, and yeah, it's mostly local produce that she buys in. She has fresh bread brought in on a daily basis. She now has just extended it to have a small sit-in area where they do lunches, a deli bar, cheeses.
Lovely.
Their tray bakes and stuff like that, and sort of craft type things that are in the coffee area. So while you're sitting having your coffee or your lunch, there are other local craft type products.
So you can sort of look around and explore. Oh, that sounds like such a lovely place.
She also, I think she's come to Christmas last year. Certainly, she did Christmas trees and things like that as well. So it became a sort of a nice atmosphere in the shop.
An expansive sort of incorporating a lot of different avenues in there then.
Yeah. So that's a great wee shop.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, I could chat to you all day about all the local producers, like literally, and just food in general. But the third thing I sort of thought that people, well, from me anyway, that I really take from just looking at you and what you are doing with your lives is that you have such, and I thought this was going to be the real focus of our Time to Thrive, was your actual joy in general in life and doing what you love. I think that a lot of people could learn from that, in that so many people are doing like 5 days of the week what they hate and only really living on the weekends, whereas I feel like you just seem to live a life of pure joy, and you radiate that out to everyone else as well, which is beautiful and such a, you know, like thing that I feel like so many would wish to live like.
You're talking about last week, aren't you? When we were cycling around Belfast on our tandem with pumpkins on our heads.
Well, I mean,
bat flying behind us, just to celebrate Halloween, and every car that passed us honked the horn.
But you're always up to something, whether it's a pumpkin on your head, or whether it's, you know, doing your mystery murder nights, or whether it's eating 100 million different restaurants a day, or hosting your own events. You seem to have a very varied life.
Yeah, we do. But do you know what? It is flexible in terms of what we do, but it's also very balanced, I think. There are times, of course, when it's busy, but we just like to I mean, I would always have been trying to be on the positive side of stuff, and things like, thoughts are things is a phrase I
Yes.
would use all the time. If you think it and walk into it, it immediately becomes the present time, So, always try and stay on the positive side of stuff. And my one phrase that everybody knows me for is when people say to you, "How are you today?" I always say, "Fantastic." Because if you say fantastic, you've just smiled while I've said it. It just makes the other person smile. Now, whether I am fantastic or not is probably irrelevant.
Yeah.
And you're probably not that interested in how I am or
No,
not.
honestly, do you know
How
whenever I
fantastic
asked
you are.
you how you were at the beginning, I was actually going to go off on a whole tangent about how I was so delighted that you actually said you were good, because most people say, oh, not great, because I always say I'm amazing, I'm great, because it was something I really picked up on. I didn't know whether you picked on. I think I might have said I'm fabulous.
Well, do you know what? Do you know what? When people say what happens, particularly in Northern Ireland, people are moaning either about the weather,
Oh, don't
or
even.
themselves,
Yeah.
and if somebody says how are you, they say I'm fine. And somebody told me years and years ago, fine just means feeling inwardly negative every day.
Yeah.
So let's
I
not be
never
fine.
say, oh, just all right. I always say, like, great, really, because,
Yeah.
and it's something different. That's why I noticed it about you. I was like, oh, this is great. We're on a high. But yeah, I guess as you say, like, whether you are actually feeling fabulous or not is irrelevant. It's just, you're setting the intention anyway.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just putting it out there, and you'll get back what you put out. And
Yeah.
Mark's right. When we look, the tandem is, we're two middle-aged men, not in lycra necessarily, but we're two middle-aged men in cycling gear on a bloomin' tandem, which is a bit of a comedy sketch in itself.
Yeah.
But when we then dress up, and even at Halloween or at Easter, we had Easter bunny ears on, and we dropped mini eggs at all the houses up the street.
I
And
love that.
Halloween.
No, you're not taking yourself too serious, are you? You're just trying to
No,
bring a bit of joy into the world.
no.
No,
no.
and occasionally you hear hoots of laughter, and that's great. They're not laughing at us; they're laughing
Laughing
with
makes
us.
you live longer. I've always been a class clown. Honestly, I would rather make people laugh and just make a mockery of myself. Life's too short. Like, we need a little
Absolutely,
more laughter going
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
definitely.
absolutely, completely.
One thing I did want to touch on was I wanted to know whether you've always been sort of had a free and flexible approach to food, or whether it has been more of a journey and you did have, did it come from a troubled or any, because I think most people have difficult relationships with food. So I thought for you to always have that, and maybe it is more different from a generational thing, that you have managed to maintain a healthy relationship with food your whole life.
Okay, I'll take that one first then, because I guess I haven't. When I was, 10, 11, 12, a number of years ago, um,
Just a
your,
few.
your, just a few, thanks. Mum would have put down a traditional pork chop, chips, and peas or something,
Yeah.
And I just got into habit of not liking it. Even when I was 10 or 11, burgers and that type of stuff, it wasn't great quality meat in them. It was
Okay.
probably, they weren't, burgers at that point 40 years ago weren't made as a decent piece of meat in a back, if you know what I mean. They were just the scrag
Okay.
ends. So there was always,
So
this is going to be
food
this
actual quality
awful.
has definitely changed then
Absolutely.
anyway.
Absolutely, but it completely put me off, and I stopped eating meat completely. I couldn't do the fat. I couldn't
Yeah.
do anything like that, and I just hated it. So I had my mother in tears many times because I wasn't eating, and people would say to her, "Look, he'll be fine. He'll get enough," and I would have just had a chip butty or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I started eating more vegetables. Then the quality of food started improving and things like that. And then you find the plant-based products coming onto the shelves, and more that gets better. And I think you mentioned maturity there. I think there is an element of that where probably as a petulant child, I was stamping my feet and jumping up from the table and not wanting to eat the food that mum had put on the table. as you grow a bit older, your palate matures a little bit. You appreciate more
Oh, it
stuff that's
definitely
going
does
on. And so
change.
I think when we're sitting at our age, that's why we are comfortable with ourselves.
Mhm.
Therefore, we can project that better when we're talking about the stuff that we like.
Yeah. And what about you then as well?
And I think with me, as I said earlier, I became a vegetarian in my
Yeah.
early 20s, and it wasn't particularly for health reasons or environmental reasons. In those days, it was more a bit like Brian. I think the quality of meat was really not great in those days.
Was just your personal choice really, or preference around what you were
I
liking
just
rather than being anything to do with the animals or the environment or anything like that?
just found eating meat quite unpleasant, and I felt rather squeamish doing so.
Yeah.
I've always been a little bit on the chubby side, shall we say. Even as a child, dieting never really worked for me. It worked for a while, and then I just put the weight back on again. So the 5'2" actually has
Yeah.
been great. We haven't lost any more weight. We would do it regularly twice a week, but we're maintaining weight
I think
now.
just being mindful with your choices and still living a life that you're enjoying is really the main thing, rather
Absolutely.
than like focusing on restricting and what you have to cut out, really focusing on
Yeah,
what you can have and can
that's right.
do with your
Correct.
lifestyle to
Yeah.
suit it best.
But I think as well as that, you're talking about the variety of the stuff that we do on our posts and Instagram and all the rest of it. We try to do Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, but sometimes the content varies depending on what we put. But I think the variety of stuff that we do, from just physically out on the bike cycling for 2 hours every day, the drama that we do, the
Yeah.
foodie reviews that we do, the friends that we have, that creates, if you think of a circle of life or a wheel of life or something like that,
Yes.
all those spokes are fairly far out in terms of the quality of what we're doing. So you get a very rounded approach, or we feel like a very rounded approach to what we do, and it's not any one issue that is causing us a problem,
That's right.
or so I think it's a
And
good.
that's that real, holistic health that I'm sort of talking about, that a lot of people are seeking. It's the balanced life. Everyone's trying to get more balance, the scales have tipped more one way, and they've maybe sacrificed their family or friend relationships for work or whatever way that has been, but that you are able to manage. I mean, maybe not every day, but on the grand scheme of things, it sort of feels like it's balanced, and that, yeah, I guess the most important thing is that you're actually enjoying it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think you made a very good point there. That's something we didn't mention about friends and family. Surrounding yourself with positivity. We are
Yeah.
so lucky that we have incredible friends, brilliant family, and they're all so positive. You have a little theory. Don't know whether this is appropriate or not, but Brian fits people into two categories: either drains or radiators.
Oh, me
And
too.
we try to surround
I
ourselves
didn't
with radiators.
You want
vampires.
you want to go and warm your bum beside the
The
people that are in the radiators. You don't want to be going near the drains to suck the energy out of you.
out of us.
Do you know what I called someone the other day? Well, I didn't actually call them, and obviously just in my head, a drainbow.
Rainbows and
I
rainbows.
quite like that. That's very good.
Isn't that a good one?
But-
I actually thought, oh my goodness, like seriously, it is the bit. It's actually draining every ounce of my energy, and I'm such like an energy enthusiast, and I felt like it was sucking every ounce of life from me.
So
I was
blessed.
like, it's a drainbow.
We've been so blessed in our lives that we have been surrounded by rainbows. Really, a lot of our friends are just incredible.
Do you know what? Has anybody ever told you a technique to deal with that? What you do
Run.
is no, you don't need to run. You don't need to run. This is all internal. What you do is, here's the lesson for today, right? What you do is you imagine if you're standing in a conversation and you're suddenly thinking, this person is as boring as ever, right? And they're really sucking the energy out of me, but you can't escape.
Yeah.
You do two things. One is you put the tip of your tongue, the wee wrinkly bit behind your front teeth. You put your tip of your tongue there. You can keep your mouth closed the way that's so you don't want to do that. You can do it with your mouth closed. There we go. But you do that, but you also, the important thing is you've got to imagine a big bell jar. You know, like one of those big demijohns coming down, and the demijohn comes down over the top of you, but you can still see out. Your messages can still come out, but all the negative energy comes and hits the glass and bounces off. But you do that in
Oh,
your
so you're
head.
shielded.
Yeah,
Or
and
do
you've
the
got to
ring.
you've got to do it. You've got to do it to music. You've got to imagine like the Thunderbirds music or something going dee diddly diddly dee dee diddly dee dee.
Or the ring.
This
You do
is
the ring thing.
genius.
Mark's just saying about the ring thing. The other one is fiddle with your if you
It turns the volume down.
turn the volume down. Use your ring to turn the volume down.
They're very smart techniques. I think that's, something that a lot of people are having to be around rainbows in work or whatever it is, and that they can actually use those techniques to protect themselves.
Yeah,
Everybody's going to be watching us from now on. They're going to be watching if we're.
I know they're going to be looking for you and actually feeling real self-conscious. Oh my goodness, do they
Mark-
think I'm a dream?
Mark and Brian are turning my volume down.
No, that is it. Honestly, it's a really massive, and like it's so crucial that what you surround yourself with. So I think it's always said like you're the average of the 5 people you're immersing yourself with, and so if you're actually surrounded by positive energy and enthusiastic people and people who are really supporting you, then that really does add to your life and bring so much nourishment.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And aside from being around people who are, just like trying to tear you down at and doing things that are very different, you and I are both doing, quite a different thing to the majority of people, our lifestyles, and people can be very critical towards that. So, just actually being around people who are, just cheering for you being happy is what you need.
And I think you've got to ignore the naysayers. You've just got to be happy. You've just got to be happy doing what you're doing. Think about yourself. Get on with your own stuff. Because we do this for fun, there's no loss here to us. We've been very lucky in terms of any
minimal trolling or criticism.
Minimal to zero,
I would say. Which
so
is remarkable to me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, the amount I've dealt with, but and for me, even like I don't think what I do is very offensive in any way, but that there's always, so it's been, I would consider yourselves very lucky that you haven't actually had to deal with any of that, but that, fantastic.
Yeah, no, we've been very lucky and we know that. But I mean, look, I think that goes back to just saying you get back what you give out almost.
Yeah.
And we're non-offensive, just having a bit of a laugh. And if you just become a magnet and people are attracted to watching and doing what you do or laughing at what you do, that's just what it means to us. Is the best ever.
Oh, no, definitely, boys. And I'd say keep doing what you're doing, definitely. Do you want to tell everyone where they can find you? Just, I know we just sort of got into the chat. I'd usually give people a chance to introduce themselves, but I think people have got a very, well-rounded view of who you are and what you're doing and everything through this video anyway. So you're just the Gourmet Boys on Instagram. Do you wanna preach for yourself there?
Yeah, sure. So I think I mentioned it. We're at the Gourmet Boys. Be careful at the minute because there is a cloned account with two S's on the end. I'm trying to get that brought down. But anyway, the Gourmet Boys on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We've a blog that runs as well. We do LinkedIn. And we tend to then put our reviews up onto TripAdvisor, Google Reviews, and onto Facebook for the restaurants or the people that we test or try some of the food on. So look, I guess the plug is give us a follow, engage with some of the stuff we're doing. If you've got any places that you want us to go and have a look at or test out, send us a message and we're happy to tandem over and try them out for you.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really cool. And so the other thing was then that you do once a week, I think it's once a week, a goodie bag, and that was like our sort of challenge that we wanted to incorporate others and get them involved in with this video as well. that they shared their, I think it was their
Well,
three fave foodie finds of this week.
yeah. Well, what we do is we do it on a Tuesday. We
Yeah.
called it the Tuesday goodie bag. So we get the TGB, like the Gourmet Boys. So it's just
No,
see what we did there.
I appreciate that so
And that's on our own
much.
social media and also on belfast.co.uk.
Yeah. We do there.
Fantastic. Yeah, so
what
you would do one, you would break that into,
Two venues,
okay,
one product.
two restaurants and one product.
Yeah. So it's usually, depending on timing, it's usually something we have done in the previous week or somewhere we have visited in the previous week. But we have a bit of a stock of places. So if for whatever reason we haven't been out, we've got some. So we do it on a Tuesday. We publish it first thing on a Tuesday morning. It runs on our Instagram stories, our Instagram grid, runs on Facebook.
Fantastic,
and on LinkedIn. And it's 2 restaurants that we've been to, and we give a shorter summary of what we gave on our review and 1 product of the week, whatever that is. You know, we've come across something local, and we also tag it. We use the goodies music to it because we felt that was appropriate. Now, people of a certain age.
You're too young. You wouldn't know what we're talking about, Amy.
You don't
I'll
know.
just pretend.
Look it up.
If anybody wants to know who the goodies were and they're not our age, Google the goodies and you'll see the comedians that were on a threesome tandem type thing.
A trandom.
A trandom or whatever.
Brilliant.
One other thing that we do, we publish a fantasy menu in GNI magazine every 2 months, is it, Brian? Which is if we were to have our favourite starter, main course and dessert and maybe cocktail, and we pick a different one from different restaurants so that it's our fantasy menu
of the month. Or of
wow, I love that, because I would always ask people what's their death row, starter, main and dessert.
That's exactly what it is.
So that's and you do a different one every month.
On our own social media that we do a different one every month, but every 2 months it's published in GNI magazine.
Hi, fantastic! That's class.
Well, if people want to see them, they're all on a highlight on our Instagram as the fantasy menu on a highlight.
Oh, brilliant! So you actually have them saved so people can look back on.
Oh, yes, they can look back on them. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So the idea really of the goodie bag anyway is that you're sharing and showcasing favorite products and bringing more service and life to those businesses, which is a lot of what we talked about anyway. So we want to encourage people to do that. I didn't want to dictate it to restaurants and one product because I feel like a lot of people are not eating out at the minute and don't have the privilege of doing that. So even if they're trying 3 new products of a week, I sort of thought November, new in November, it's something, it kind of has a bit of alliteration and rhymes to it that we should try and incorporate new things and try new things rather than just having very much of a same-ish and boring lifestyle. Bring a bit of, innovation and newness into it.
Yeah, and if people are doing that and they're happy to join in, send us both.
Yeah, I included in the little story. I've got a little story template and are both tags in it so that we can then reshare it and sure that's bringing even more.
Yeah, terrific.
Smashing.
Sounds like a plan.
Sharing is caring, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well, I hope you enjoy and thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated chatting with you here this morning.
No worries, it was great,
It's
Amy.
been great.
Thank you.
And enjoy the rest of your fabulous day.
Yeah, we're
fantastic.
We're on stage for our final show
night
banger tonight.
Oh, this is the final show.
We might have a wee glass of wine afterwards to celebrate.
A little one.
Just a little.
Just a little one.
Just like a gallon. Well, it'd be well deserved now, I must say, boys.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
See you later.
Lovely to talk to you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you all for watching another episode. I really hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. And don't forget to get involved in our challenge to you over on Instagram at Surviving Now Thriving. And I shall see you all next time.